motto is liberty, equality, fraternity. Right hand side, so the lady and the three words at the bottom.
आएगा और आगे नहीं अभी यहाँ पत्ता होता आएगा
पत्ता आ जा रहा है
हाँ
Here she is, right hand side. So the underground of Paris, what's the name of the underground? Do you know? In the back? Metro, M-E-T-R-O. What's the name of the underground in London? In London, it's called a tube. In America, subway. In French, in Paris, metro. It is one of the oldest underground systems in Europe, built in 1900, after the ones in London and Budapest. The metro starts in the morning at 5:30 until midnight, half past midnight next morning. This is from Sunday through Thursday because Friday and Saturday evening, quite a few metro lines remain open until 1:30, 2 o'clock next morning. This is for people going out, mostly for young people going out. They have more public transportation for going back home. It's nice, right? Friday and Saturday evening. So how to find the metro stations? Either you look for big yellow M, standing for metro, or just a sign where it says metro or metropolitan, which are the first word. Now we just say metro in a short way. Using the metro in Paris is easier compared to other cities where, depending how far you want to go, you have different prices. So how to find the metro station? Yeah, either you look for big yellow M, standing for metro, or just a sign where it says metro or metropolitan, which are the first word. Now we just say metro. Using the metro in Paris is easier compared to other cities where, depending how far you want to go, you have different prices. Right here, all the tickets are the same fixed price. So if you want to make 2 stops, 20-40, as long as you remain underground for maximum 1.5 hours, it's the same ticket. One single ticket for one trip is 1.9 euros. We Parisian people buy a monthly pass. It's a pass which is good for 1 whole month, and limited trips, 75 euros for 1 month, 75 euros. This is for the subway and the underground as well. The city buses, because belong to the same company. So 75 euros unlimited trips for city buses and underground. Now, coming out on the right-hand side, we're going to see a building that lots of Parisian people will hate because it's too modern. It looks like a factory or like a raffinery. It's called the Georges Pompidou Center. It's too modern for Paris. Paris is an old city, and this building will have pipes and tubes of 3 different colors, very strange, called Georges Pompidou. Georges Pompidou was a president in our country. He wanted to have a cultural center built, so he asked some architect to make a project. And he chose the project of 2 architects working together, not even French. One was Italian, one was English, and had this building built. Going to be on the right-hand side in a few seconds. You understand why I say it looks like a factory, like a raffinery. So it is a cultural center, Georges Pompidou. And the president never saw the building completed. He died before. Here it is on your right-hand side. Don't you think it's very strange for Paris?
Yes.
It really looks like a raffinery, right? It's the back of it. The front is even worse. So it's a cultural center, the huge library. Those people, those are students, they are waiting for the library to open, because once open, it's a very good library, and then it's full quickly. So That's what they have. They are waiting for the opening of this library. George Pompidou. 3 colors, each has a function. Everything concerning electricity, like the lift, are painted in red color. The air conditioning is with the green tubes. Everything blue is referring to plumbing. George Pompidou Center, completed in 1974.
1974.
And so ahead of us, you can see the top of the twin tower of the Church of Notre Dame, the Cathedral of Notre Dame, which was built on one of the 2 small islands that we have in Paris. Coming out on the left-hand side, be ready, because we're going to see a beautiful 19th century building, the Paris City Hall. At the end of the street left, you'll see the Paris City Hall. As I said, it's a beautiful building with a clock on the first side, lots of statues. I told you that Paris is divided into 20 districts, so 20 town hall. Ladies and gentlemen, left-hand side, gorgeous 19th century building, the Paris City Hall, left-hand side. Right, so coming up now again to cross the river, we're going to be driving on one of the 2 small islands that we have in Paris called the City Island. Behind is another island called the St. Louis Island. And it was on those 2 islands where the first people of Paris settled in the 3rd century before Christ. So Paris is 2,200 years old. The first people who came, they're just a small group, like a tribe. Their name was the Parisi, P-A-R-I-S-I. Then Romans came. They were the ones who settled the first village. They gave to the village the name of Lutetia, first name of our city. Then, in memory of the first people, the Parisi, we took the last name, we dropped the last I letter, it became Paris. So the river is just in front of us, and the buildings straight ahead of us, that's already the island. Right-hand side, there will be a large building with a twin towers on Versailles. Look to the right and see the top of the Eiffel Tower in the distance. But this building on the right of the twin towers is the Hall of Justice, the Supreme Court. Right-hand side, see the Supreme Court. This building was built originally as the first royal residence in town. At the time of the Revolution, part of the building was used as a prison and then turned into a Supreme Court. So now we're on the island. Right-hand side is one of the 3 flower markets that we have in Paris. Right-hand side in the sky, you'll see the spire of a church called the Holy Chapel. Right-hand side, you see the spire of a church called the Holy Chapel. This church was built in the 13th century to house the crown of Jesus. The crown of Jesus is kept inside this church. You know, when Jesus died on the cross, they put on his head a crown made of small pieces of wood. The name of the crown is the crown of thorns. In the 13th century, our king was a very religious king. So he bought this crown of Jesus from the country of Palestine, and he built this church like a shrine to house this crown. And this crown of Jesus now is kept inside the Cathedral of Notre Dame, left-hand side after the traffic light. Right-hand side, that's the oldest and the main holy station that we have in Paris. Right-hand side. Left-hand side is Notre Dame. Notre Dame means Our Lady. Left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, Our Lady, referring to the Virgin Mary, because the church was built dedicated to the Virgin Mary. Notre Dame was built from the 12th to the 14th century, 200 years to build it, which means some parts are 800 years old. It is a Catholic church. 80% of French people are Catholic. Only 20% go to church. On the left-hand side, after the souvenir shop, is going to be the most narrow street that we have in Paris. Let's have a look. Left-hand side, It's a very, very narrow, the most narrow street. It's called the Street of the Fishing Cat. Again, about Notre Dame, it was inside Notre Dame where took place the 2nd of December 1804, the coronation of Napoleon. The Pope was supposed to crown him, but the very last second, Napoleon decided not being crowned, so he took the crown from the Pope's hand, crowned himself, then crowned his wife Josephine. So Napoleon crowned himself instead of being crowned. Right hand side, with the statues on the first side, this is the other side of the Supreme Court, the Hall of Justice. Right hand side, that's the other side, with the spire of the Church of the Sainte-Chapelle, the one which was built for the crown of Jesus. Right-hand side, coming up with a bridge called the New Bridge, but in fact this is the oldest bridge in town. It was called New Bridge because when it was first built, it was the first bridge built in stone. First ones were made in wood, but they were easy to burn. That's what the New Bridge, the first bridge made in stone was called the New Bridge. 37 bridges span the river in Paris. 37. So this river Seine is the second longest river of France, 776 kilometers long, starting with the country, ending the channel. The longest river in France is called the Loire, 1,000 kilometers. How long is the Ganges? 2,800. Left-hand side, this building on the left is the Mint of Paris, where still printed some coins and medals. Right-hand side, you can see the beginning of the island, the city island, the trees. Across the river on the other side, you can see a large building coming out. It's the Louvre Museum. Right-hand side, on the other side, it's the Louvre. Left-hand side is going to be the French Academy, where members are some writers, philosophers. Left-hand side is the French Academy, where members write down the French dictionary. Every year, we've got between 20 and maximum 40 new French words. Those members of the French Academy are called the immortals because they are elected until the end of their life. So they work like protecting the French language. So back to the Louvre Museum, right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen. It's a U-shaped building. So that's how we're going to drive to the other side. We'll be coming back and driving through. U-shape, so two very long parts, one very short part. Each long part, you can see one of the long parts on your right, each is 500 meters long, the longest galleries in the world. So the Louvre is one of the 94 museums that we have in Paris. 94 museums and 120 art galleries. So you see how many days you had to spend in Paris to visit every single museum. 94. So again, to make a right turn, again to cross the river, right hand side in the distance, you will see the island where we were, the city island with the top of the Twin Towers of Notre Dame. So be ready to have a look on your right hand side. Beautiful. We're very lucky. The weather is so beautiful, very clear. Because we could have some fog as well this time of the year. So look to the right. Beautiful and clear view over the island with the spire of a church for the crown of Jesus and the top of the Twin Towers of Notre Dame, right hand side. And the Twin Towers of Notre Dame, they had never been completed. They were supposed to be higher, but we never finished them. And I told you that it took 200 years to build Notre Dame. The Louvre start, and you notice I pronounce Louvre, not Louvre. Even though the spelling is Louvre, in French, last letters are silent. That's why you don't pronounce Louvre, but Louvre is E is silent. The Louvre started as a palace in the 16th century. The first king who started to build the Louvre, his name was Francis I. Then every king who lived there after him added more and more architecture, then turned into a museum 200 years later. It is one of the 3 largest museums in the world. 350,000 works of art. But we don't have enough space to show everything we have. That's why last year in Abu Dhabi they opened another branch of the Louvre Museum. But we'll never send them the Mona Lisa. She's too old. She'll stay here forever. This bridge on your right used to be a bridge totally covered with locks. Maybe you saw on television last year or the year before a bridge with love locks. Used to be the bridge just behind us. But they removed all the locks because it was too heavy. So the balustrade was falling down in the water. Now people try to put their locks other places. Left-hand side, I need to go left to the columns, is the short part of this U-shaped building of the Louvre. So again, left-hand side is the short part of this U-shaped building of the Louvre. Right inside of at the end of the street will be one of those original metro stations, one of the oldest one. Now they are just plain modern, and that's one of the original one on the right hand side. We see with the 2 lampposts and all the curves, beautiful metro station. The style is called New Art or Noodle Art, or the curve making like noodles. Left-hand side is the other side of the Louvre Museum. The size of the Louvre. Sorry, you have to sit down. We are not allowed to stand up on the bus. If the police see you, we're going to stop. Please sit down. Otherwise, the police could stop us and fine us. We normally have to wear our seatbelt, so which okay, that's fine. But at least sit down. Don't give them the opportunity to stop the bus, please. Thank you. So the size of the Louvre is the size of 6 football stadiums, and we're normally seeing about 2 months to cover everything. 2 months. Have you seen the movie The Da Vinci Code?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, you saw the movie?
Yes.
Okay, so the movie was filmed here. They were shooting every evening, night, and also on Tuesday, the closing day of the Louvre. So we're going to drive through the Louvre to show you a glance-up pyramid, which that you see very often in the movie The Da Vinci Code. The Louvre opens every day except on Tuesdays, twice a week, opens until 10 p.m.
Can you please? बंद करना ढक्कन गर्म ठंडा ढक्कन बंद करो कितना मजा आ रहा है एकदम टेम्परेचर अंदर में टेम्परेचर नहीं ना है वो ठंडे करने
Alright, so now I'm going to drive through the building of the Louvre to show you the glass pyramid, which is now the main public entrance of the museum, which was built by one architect born in mainland China, then became American, Mr. I.M. Pei. There are quite a few buildings in Singapore and in the States as well.
खाली पुराना बिल्डिंग के लिए फेमस ग्रीस में भी वही था बिल्डिंग्स बस
Alright, so hold your breath, breathe in, because we have to squeeze inside this arch in front of us. It's very narrow, but we've got an excellent driver. Noel is very... Look at that, hold your breath, breathe in, very narrow. Okay. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of you, left, behind, underneath, the whole thing is the Louvre Museum. Be ready with your camera. Left hand side, you'll see the glass pyramid. Here we are. Oh my God, look at the line to get into the museum. So the three highlights are the Venus of Milo, the Winged Victory. Oh my God, two Greek statues from the 2nd century before Christ, and the famous painting by Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa. Right hand side, the Art of the Carousel, which was built to